the number of members rather than have, multiple open positions.
Okay, we're back on. So for anybody that might have been listening, we're back to our Veterans Commission meeting because we do have a quorum now with Commissioner Ives joining us.
Hi, Dennis.
So,
Hello.
Kevin, you can kick it off.
Great. Yes, let me call the meeting to order and then ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we have multiple people absent. I think Kelly, could you lead us through the roll call, and then I guess we'll take a motion to
Sure,
dismiss the absent members.
just one moment. Okay, Commissioner Hilt, Commissioner Daughtry,
Here.
Commissioner Tagent, Commissioner Hayden, Commissioner Gabrys,
Present.
Commissioner McLarnon,
Here,
Commissioner Welch,
Here.
Commissioner Rasmussen. I see your lips moving. It's okay.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ives.
Here.
okay, could I have a motion to, what's the right language here? Help me, Kelly,
To excuse the absent members.
thank you.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Excuse me. Okay, let's see. Next up on the agenda is to elect a new chair and vice chair. It's that time of year again. So I
Okay,
guess,
I'll get started.
yeah, thanks, Kim.
I nominate Commissioner Welch as the chair.
I'll second that.
Do you decline?
I do decline.
You
I
decline.
do. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored. I have too much on my plate right now.
Okay, so I guess I'll take that back.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Would you entertain being vice chair?
I would entertain that.
So I'll nominate Commissioner Hilt as chair.
Does he know you're nominating him?
He's currently vice chair, and I think he would assume that that would be a matter of course.
I will second that then.
You can do it. All right, I'll second that.
Yep, I think Debbie seconded it. So we have a motion. It's been made and seconded. Any discussion before we vote? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Congratulations, Commissioner Hill.
I'll be sending him an email, or you can do that, Kevin.
I will gladly do that. And I'll make another motion since we're on a roll here for Debbie Welch to be vice chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion that's been made and second. Any discussion before we vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Did you vote for yourself?
Aye.
Yeah, okay. Just want to be sure.
That makes it unanimous. Congratulations, Debbie,
Thank you.
and thank you. Okay, now the
So
chair is,
I have a motion.
yeah,
I move to have past President McLaren continue with the meeting as president at this meeting.
I will second that.
okay. We've had a motion that's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you, Kim, and Debbie. So let's move on through the regular agenda, and the next item is public comment. Excuse me. I don't believe there's anyone there for public comment. Could you
Nobody's here.
confirm?
Nobody's here.
Moving right along. Moving on to the minutes of December 7th. I have one adjustment I'd like to propose. And that is on page 3, down where it talks about the VSO. I think we should soften that language a bit. I would propose saying that there's office space for community services, including space for VSO, that should be available in the new food bank building. The way it reads now, it makes it look like it's a done deal, and I don't think we've got those commitments yet.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that to me in an email. I'll make sure we make that change.
Other than that, the minutes look fine to me. So does anyone else have anything else they would want to see changed on the minutes before we make a motion? Okay, then I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 7th with that one wording clarification that we just discussed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved as noted. Okay, moving on through the regular discussion items. First one, have nothing to add for business recognition. There's nothing in the queue right now, so I think we can pass over it unless someone else has something to cover. And let's move on to the community survey. Everyone should have a copy of that in their packet. Before we dive into it, I think that's probably what we'll spend pretty much the rest of the meeting on. I know I have one other thing on Purple Heart. But I want to recognize the work that Debbie did, not only in the beginning to help come up with this idea and figure out how we could potentially target veterans, but have the tools to actually help us identify veteran households, and having the stick-to-itiveness, that's a new word, to help us get there. So, and not to mention the skills with artwork and salvaging the logo, right? So we now have a high resolution logo that we had lost, that Debbie recreated. And so I want to recognize that effort, and also Jean for jumping in. You know, Jean wasn't even a member, and started meeting with us to craft the survey and then help take this and put it into a report. So personally, I think the report is reasonably well written. As I read it today, I found a few mistakes in it, but I think it will serve as a blueprint for the commission going forward. So I want to recognize both of you guys for your extra efforts, because I've been doing most of the talking about this thing.
Kevin, before you move forward, I would actually like to recognize you. I might have done the stuff kind of towards the beginning, but you took the reins with the reporting and the Survey Monkey along with Jean. So, and I kind of stepped back a little bit during that point. So I appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you. And actually, so I thought it would be fitting at this point where everyone hopefully has had a chance to read it. I don't plan to go through it. I think at this point, the discussion should be, you know, what's the next steps? And I'd kind of like to step back, unless someone has specific questions, or Debbie and Jean, unless you guys want to kick it off. I mean, I think we just open it up. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look through it, and you know, we can talk about where do we go from here.
I'll go ahead and start. I think I think a major theme in here is just access to veteran services, and in my mind, that equals VSO. Access to VSO, access to that specialist or specialists that can help direct people. We've gone through this before, none of us can do that. So we need to, we do with the food bank, we have room, we don't know if we're gonna have a VSO yet, for sure, do we?
Oh, no, we don't know that.
We don't
No,
know that, but
Our whole thing was, we got two things, find a place to do it. Which we had a temporary one for a while, at the chamber. And then that room was taken by the senator and he's gone now. So we would actually be able to use that again. I'm pretty sure if we could get a VSO now. But the food bank has offices that we were involved in getting. That has actually happened. Those are being built. So that is going to be available. The only thing that we have question now, and I actually talked to the mayor today to find out, because rumors might be true, is that Volunteers of America is not going to participate in that anymore. So I'm trying to get that verified because it's rumor as far as I'm concerned. I think I met last time. So I think that it's incumbent upon us to find a way to get a VSO in here. And I think the easiest method of doing that is to get to the county VSO and open up 1 day a week here in Lake Stevens from their office, if we can get that done. That would be, I think, the easiest method of getting it accomplished if it worked. I tasked myself to try to do that from the last month, and we didn't have that meeting that we were supposed to have. That got canceled again. So I wasn't able to really reach out to the right person, and did not reach out to Sam Lowe to find out who it would be to contact, but I can still take that on as the next step, and I'll contact Councilman Lowe and say, put me in touch with the right person so I can find out who we talked to about getting the VSO over here for our office hours. And we can start those more than likely at the chamber office right now or at the Visitor Information Center right now, and then continue it on into the offices that we will have available at the food bank building when those are completed. And the building is going up pretty quickly. So
Yes, it is.
yeah, it's getting
Great.
pretty nice. Even they haven't had scores there today for some different people, but. So the VS, I agree with Commissioner Welch that the VSO is one of those ways of doing that. Reading through this, I think that there's other things that we need to be reaching out to some of our other partners that we need to probably reestablish after COVID happened. And one of those being the base and the transition office. Because a lot of this is talking about transition of people coming out of the military. And we should be able to help with that one way or the other. Like, you've got the people coming off of ships or coming off of shore duty over there. They have a transition office. Do we really need to have day office over here in Lake Stevens for that? I kind of doubt it. I mean, they have the facilities and everything already assigned. But how do we help a citizen soldier or sailor here in Lake Stevens, to get them to understand they need to go to the transition office to get some help? And is there others that we can bring in that do transition type of programs that are not attached to Navy base Everett? Can we get them involved in helping and have maybe some other transition sessions that we could have people come to, training sessions or whatever that be, or just counseling sessions or whatever that may be? Is that a necessary component of that, of what that's going on? I would hope that that's not true. I would hope that the transition program that the Navy has and the military has is adequate. It's been 22 years since I went through transition, and it was not adequate at that time.
I've not personally been through it, but just in talks with Todd about it. You were thrown so much information in that short period of time that very little of it sticks. So almost like refresher type things.
And most of it that I remember was about the continuing life insurance. That was the biggest. That was basically it. And they really tried to push that, which was, we're not having that. That's expensive. I think that the biggest, if I remember back to what mine is and what I have encountered for the last 22 years, is the biggest issue I have was with not understanding the VA and what I was supposed to go do. So I am pretty sure I've lost all of my VA benefits because it's been over 20 years and I haven't used any of them.
Check that now with some of those recent changes.
Yeah, I know there's some recent changes, but you know, there, it used to be that if I would have gone in before 20, what I got told was if I went in before my 20 was up, I would have been retroactive for any of my disability pay. And now I won't. It'll be, I can't do it retroactively anymore. So they don't tell you that. At least they didn't 22 years ago. Anyway, so that's one of those that I took out of the survey was the importance of the transition program. And then there's others, of course, and anybody else break in here. I don't need to talk about the whole dang thing.
Do you know, do they have like community relations? And is that, they have something like that in transition where they will go out to the community? Do we know?
I don't know that, but I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't, I don't even want to hazard a guess.
Okay.
The thing that what I would think of though, if I did hazard a guess, would be no, because they have the facilities right there. I mean, you're supposed to go and have your 3 days of transition training or whatever it is now. It was 3 days back then.
I don't think it's any more than a week at that. and
Yeah, it probably
it's
isn't.
such important information.
Right. So I mean, maybe we can find out if there's, I mean, we go to the transition office and ask some questions, you know.
Do that.
Well, yeah. If you can, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can do that.
One of the things I'll just jump in, I think you guys hit the highlights. There was a lot of discussion about, or feedback, I shouldn't say discussion, feedback about, you know, we aren't well known and we know that, right? So I think in the last meeting, there was a conversation, a little bit of, you know, chicken and an egg. And I think if we can get one thing going, that, you know, that will start the momentum, that we don't have to do 20 things at once. If we can focus on getting a VSO in here, that is certainly what the majority of the people said they want help with.
So, you know, we have 3 pillars for the Veterans Commission that we started off with in 2016. One of those was helping veterans that need help. The other one was getting to get veterans involved in the community. And then I don't remember what the third one was. Oh, the third one was trying to get with employers and get employers to understand that hiring veterans was an important thing for their business. I think the hardest one we've had is being able to find the veterans. That's the hardest one. They're not crawling out of the woodwork to come talk to us. We've tried several different things that just didn't work. The coffee clutches, we did survey, or not the survey. We did some of the community events. We were there with our tent, our pop-up and our, stuff. We tried that. We got a few people sign up on their newsletter type thing. But they're not coming out like we know what the population is in Lake Stephen. They're not coming out to us. So we don't have those names or those, and we're not getting any people to come out and actually help us, which we thought we would get. So that's the hard one that we're still going to be struggling with, I think. But the other one that we struggle with is how do we help the veterans that say they need help? I mean, first off, they got to know that they can come to us. Great. But if they come to us, what they're coming to us with is a problem right then and there. The same as they do for you guys at the Legion. I'm sure they come to the Legion because I've got a problem and I need some help. We do not have the information in place to help them. I mean, what I did for the one that actually contacted me was I contacted Vern and said, Vern, what can the Legion do with this? That's embarrassing. We're supposed to be able to figure out who all these people are that we can send them to, which was the big grand idea in the sky. I think we need to revisit that and find out, okay, do we do that or don't we do that? And if we are going to do it, how do we do that? And then we got to put some effort into it. But there's so many services out there. How do we gain access to all that stuff and understand who they are? A lot of these things are in here is, one of these here's an interesting one, childcare for date nights.
There was a lot of interesting. things
Yeah,
in
it's like,
there.
okay, drop-in childcare. Okay, VA claim assistance, we can handle that. We get BSO. So there's all kinds of things in here.
Or like the one about the Machias Cemetery.
Yeah, the Machias Cemetery do more
I'd like
on
to see-
Veterans Day and stuff. Well, we do,
But we do that already.
yeah, we do it
We
already.
don't, but
Well, the Legion does, yeah.
So-
So we should be able to just say, that's in a written survey, great. But if somebody came to us and said that, then we would say immediately, well, the Legion does that on both of those days.
Communication is always a challenge, and I think that's what, the last part of the discussion was clearly the person who wrote that wasn't aware, right? Or they would have framed it differently. And one of the things I wanted to go back to, Kim, that you touched on, and I think it gets back to kind of a reality check is this stuff needs energy, right? It needs blocking and tackling and work. And so it might be that today the commission can't handle all three legs, right? Maybe we need to just focus on one, get one leg to stand on, and then take that next step. Because everyone does have a lot going on, and I think we've suffered in the past sometimes for having great ideas, but not really being able to follow through.
Well, if we're going to sit here tonight and pick that one thing, it's got to be the VSO. I think that's the most important thing we can bring to the veterans community here in Lake Stevens right now. And I think it's probably pretty close to the medium port of the apple tree. It's not down at the low, it's not low bearing flute, but it's in the medium, we can reach it. Maybe with a short ladder, but I think I would need a ladder. Gene doesn't need a ladder.
Well, Dennis, that should have gotten at least a smile.
That's funny.
So, so I think that if we're going to set a goal, for the first quarter or the first 6 months or whatever you want to say is the time frame is, okay, let's get off the stick and get a VSO in here. And like I said, I'm going to try to get my best to find out who that is and talk to them and figure it out. And if I have to go to the state to figure out how we can get the changes to the legislation to get it a little bit more widely done, then we'll do that. I mean, we can do that.
I would rather make something like that a quarter goal than a 6-month goal because it'll fall off.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not advocating any time frame.
No, I know.
Whatever you
I'm
want to
just-
do.
I'm advocating for a quarter goal on that. Just to try to keep the momentum going. And I can help Kim.
So-
Whatever. On
The other thing, Kim, if I could jump in I hope this helps the conversation, but on question 7, there was one person in particular, and I think I sent this to everybody. Sorry, hold on one sec. I don't know if you guys are hearing that. My phone's ringing in the background, but there was one person in particular that offered to volunteer. So there may be some low-hanging fruit on getting another.
Okay, he's on the top of page 12. The one that really bugs me though, I mean, that's great. Is there a way we can reach out to these people? Any way we know who did that?
Did they leave the contact information on these?
Do we have contact information for that person?
Yes. And that's what I was trying to say, that's the, there's the full data. I think I sent that email out a week ago, all the people that left their names saying they were willing to help.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah, okay.
And so that person's there with you can see their comment. And also there were several people that when you get to the point of actually, whatever the thing is that you do, whether it's a 5K run or a coffee clutch or get together for a guest speaker, there were a bunch of people that said they'd help more like towards event kind of stuff. So I think there's a way to reach out to people and say, hey, we've got this thing coming up. we need some volunteers. So that's what I was just going to throw in, is I think there was an effort by about 20 people to identify themselves and say they're willing to help. It's just more incumbent on us to define what we want them to do, what we want to ask them to do.
Those type of things are gonna require foundation in place to help fundraise so that those type of events can happen though, and we don't have that. I don't know how we go about getting that. I guess that's something we'll have to figure out.
Yep, that's a tough one.
There's a couple of them here that are kind of disturbing, actually. Currently, the city of Lake Stevens gets a no confidence vote for our family and friends. And I don't know, but this is one of the most unfriendly places I've ever lived in 20 years.
Kevin, were you, Todd and I were actually talking about this before I came, that the internet surveys, because I read in here how you said that the most robust responses were actually from the cards versus from the online trolls. They're out
Yes.
there. And it's real easy to troll, just click something and just go. Are you able to tell if some of the more, I wouldn't say disturbing comments, but the little more interesting comments were via the link versus the card, the postcard?
Short answer is yes, we can see that. There's a spreadsheet that is in the shared Google Drive that has, every response with the detail of every respondent, if that makes sense. There's 84 rows and how they responded to every question. So you can tell if the person added this comment, what did they answer for the question? How do they hear about this survey? I went through to look at it, as you said, for the cards, because I was curious of the impact of the direct mail, but I didn't go through and look at it to the detail that you just mentioned. We certainly could, though.
I will go out there and take a look. I'm just curious because I want to know that it's too hard to know if it's truly a legitimate complaint versus someone just time on their hands to send more hate mail out. I don't know.
Right. Well, one of the things that I think we have to keep in context, I'll just share this for the group. I know the three of us talked about it, Jean and Debbie and I. One of the things that was less than perfect was the timing of the survey. We ended up having it uncomfortably close to the election. So there were a few responses that, in my own view, I looked at it as, okay, this is fervor from the election talking versus well thought out concern. So I will just say that, and it had to do more with some of the comments, not, I think that the general feedback was good, but there were a few that, to me, you could see, but these were buzzwords from the election more than anything. So it is what it is, though. This was, it just worked out that most of the people took the survey and within days or a week of the election. So
Well, I see a couple of comments in here. I'm looking at pages, just the page 11 and 12 is what I've been looking at. There's table 5, which is all the responses to question 7. There's a couple in here that are intriguing. 19 says education with all personal sidearms that residents walk around with everywhere. I don't understand what they mean by makes me unhinged just waiting for someone to shoot someone. I guess I don't understand that, but having small arms education might be, I think that's what they're asking for.
Possibly.
That's possibly what they're asking for. We might be able to set something up like that for veterans to have, you know, be able to get their CPL, for instance. The VA prescription and clinic in Lake Stevens, that's a big ask. I mean, you're asking for a VA facility here in Lake Stevens.
Did they officially open the satellite in Everett? Do you know?
I don't know if they've officially done it or not, but one of the things, if they did, one of the things that might be is we're looking for transportation to that. That might be something we can set up, especially with what's going on with community transit and the micro transit that's going to happen here in Lake Stevens. So we'll see, you know, that might be something we could set up to where if it's a veteran and they need to go to the VA thing in Everett, they can actually go across the trestle and take them there.
That'd be great. Is this the same program that they have going on in Alderwood right now?
Yes,
Okay,
but it's going to look different for Lake Stevens. It's just the micro transit.
okay.
We don't know what it's going to look like yet.
Okay, thank you.
But it could be, like I said, if you get a micro transit system here in Lake Stevens, which is basically right now, the Alderwood area that we're doing the first pilot project in is just a 4 or 5 vans that are going around only within a 1 mile square around the Alderwood Mall. But it's basically an Uber type thing, but it's run by community transit. Here in Lake Stevens, I think that'd look a little bit different, but it could be the same but they're only staying in Lake Stevens. So you could pick up a kid over here, take them to the skate park, pick up a senior citizen, take them to the pharmacy, you know, that kind of thing. And it's all done on an app on your phone, et cetera, et cetera. And it's got a little bit of a cost to it, except for 19 and under, which is free. But I think that if we were able to take that, whatever program we actually come up with, and we need to get somebody to the VA office in Everett, if it's actually open, we might be able to get that where CT provides that function for us in that microtransit thing, because it's only 7 miles away. So not a big deal. We might be able to get that into that program. I'm sitting on that particular group, so I'll see if I can salt the oats with that.
Doesn't Homage take care of a lot of the dark buses? The Snohomish County Senior Center services down in Linwood?
I don't know that.
What was the name of the program?
It's Homage. They're the Snohomish County Senior Center or Senior Services. They do have input into the DART program, like where services go and when not. It's been trying to deal with that for my wife, and it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, it is. We are having difficulties. I'll just speak for CT because I'm on the board. We're having difficulties with the company that is running that. Debbie knows that firsthand. We're trying to rectify that. It's an ongoing situation and it is improving. I think yours has been taken care of, right?
Yes, oh, absolutely.
So it is a problem, but we're trying to handle it.
Okay, I just looked really quick, the Everett, they call it the Everett VA Clinic. You can get online, you can make appointments just from clicks. There's pharmacy. They are at 220 Olympic Boulevard in Everett, 98203, which is out past Forest Park. So more Mukilteo area, but
They're out in Forest Park.
out past Forest Park, more on your way to Mukilteo
Okay.
through Forest Park.
Oh, I know. Okay, I know where that's at. So,
Looks like they're
one of the things we might want to do, and, Gene, but we haven't heard anything from you. You're
There you go,
not
Gene.
quiet over there. And then Vern hasn't said anything. One of the things we might want to do is go through this list ourselves and maybe do a rank order on what we think we could work on. you know, or pick a priority of what we think the priorities are, and we can come back together
Just
and
fix that.
do the old little sticky note button thing and say, okay, I think this is a priority. I think this is a priority. And we can try to figure out what we and based on what we think we can actually accomplish. We're not going to get a VA hospital in Everett or in Lake Stevens. I mean, you know, there's a veterans park would be nice. Okay, yeah, that'd be nice, but really, we have veterans. Yeah.
That was my question. Would a veterans park be for veterans only? We have a veterans
Right.
memorial here. in
Yeah,
this
we got the
place.
War Memorial and a very nice park attached to it. So why would we even consider a veterans park? I've never seen a veterans park, actually. The one on number 2, which businesses in the city are vet owned, that's easy. We can put that on a website, you know, although that we haven't been able to get a lot of participation in that. Maybe that's one of those we could come up with, say, okay, let's revitalize that and get out there and start hitting businesses up and see what's going on. So I think it might be easy to go through table 5 here, responses, or even all of the responses, and try to rank order them and figure out which way we want to go.
Like the veterans with loan mortgage debt, I have contacts with people in finance for mortgage VA loans and things like that could probably come and speak at a panel or something at some point. So,
Yeah, number 12, were simple discounts on utilities. You can't, if you're married and have kids, you can get them, but you can't if you're single.
yes, you can.
Well, they think you can't.
I know,
So-
my daughter.
So what I'm thinking is, you know, if we rank order these, some of these, maybe that's just such an easy one to do. Try to put it on the website. This is where you go.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a website. Or we could use the foundation's website, even though we don't really have a foundation anymore, but we can certainly still use the website.
Well, and I think personally, the more we can use the city's website, that it's kind of self-fulfilling, right? It drives people to see, oh, there's a newsletter. I can sign up for the newsletter. I can sign up for events. You know, I think if you can drive people to the same place, there's power in that.
Well, I agree with you to some extent on the city website. However, it's not easy to change the city website. It isn't that we just call somebody and they change it. Like I can do on the foundation website. I can have it fixed within 5 minutes. But to go to the city, you know, that's staff time and what's their priorities and those kinds of things. So I agree with you that it would be really nice, but it's not as easy as it could be. And it's, you know,
Fair point. And I will say though, Troy has been really helpful and anything that Kelly can't do, you know, we set up the initial stuff. I know Troy worked weekends to get it done. So maybe you're right. There's not a lot of depth there, but there's a lot of caring, I think, behind it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know how much of the website we can take up with our stuff either, so I don't know. I don't know if there's a limit to that.
Yeah, I think we got a long way to go to catch the park board, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
worry about that one.
So what do you think about the rank ordering, coming back to the next meeting with a personal list and rank ordered, and we put it all together?
I think that's a great idea.
Janine, what do you think of that?
Yeah, you're gonna limit that list though?
Was that?
Are you gonna limit the list of top 5 items? Because we got a lot in the list here, so.
Yeah, that's a good
Find them.
idea. I mean, it might be better to do it that way. We
Just
don't need to rank.
Categories, not necessarily.
So bring your 5 top things and we put it all together and see how it comes out.
You can combine the suggestions provided into categories. Maybe a category would be assistance with benefits, which gets you back to the VSO and, or, you know, have sessions with VA coming or something along those categories. I think would be better than, although there's nothing wrong with the individual recommendations. I think if you come up with categories, you might be a little bit better off, but you know, to each, I'm not prescribing how it should be done. I have an idea what I would do. I think if I put it into categories, we'd probably capture
So
over
do
90% of the.
we
topics.
want to put it in? I think you're right on that, actually. Category is a lot easier. Do we need to put them in categories? We have one person put them in category, try to categorize them, put it out to the group then, and then do a rank?
Yeah, I can come up with, I'll, for my part, I'll come up with categories based off of what I'm seeing in there's suggestions. I'll come up with 5 that are open to revisions if commissioners feel like I haven't gotten them correct, I'll share those with Kelly. Kelly can push them out.
Mhm.
And if it's all agreed upon, then we can each rank them how we feel before the next meeting. How's that sound?
So you're gonna come up with the categories and we're gonna try to put each of one of these in a category.
I would come up with the categories.
No, I'm not saying you would put them in a categories.
Right, I would come up with categories and then we could, if you wanted to do it that way, put them in. Or we can say the categories or topics we want to try to address.
Okay, I think you're right about that.
I think topics we want to address 5, and I'll use the information in the report.
To make the category.
Right, but before we do that, share the top 5 categories with Kelly.
Right.
Kelly pushes them out for agreement. And everybody agrees, then at the next meeting, we could propose our top 5 and see how that all matches. It may take another meeting to come up to the final list, but
Probably, yeah.
if that's fine with everybody, I will look at those items and categorize the 5.
Makes
I'm
sense to
just
me.
volunteering. You guys can disagree with me.
Never disagree with a volunteer.
No,
So that's on my to-do list. I'll get that out probably near the end of the week or over the weekend to you.
Okay.
And you can push them out and give everybody time to look at them next week.
Yep.
Agree or disagree, and then 2 weeks to
Do it.
consider how they would rank them.
Okay, seems like we have a plan. Any additional discussion on this item before we move on?
I'm good.
I think that's a good way to start.
Dennis, all good? Okay. Then let's move on to the newsletter. I think we can, this one's got my name on it and Debbie, so I have nothing here. Again, based on the survey, I think there's other things that are more important, and I think the newsletter will fall into a discussion topic as we flesh out some of these other things we've been talking about.
When was the last newsletter put out?
December, we put one out around the survey.
So we would need another one around March.
Yeah, if there's something to say.
Well, I think one of the things we could do on the newsletter, if we did put it out, is point out that we have the VA office in Everett. Hopefully by then we can have some kind of information about a VSO. So we may have some stuff, so. And if you have a template to that, hopefully we'd have availability of that template.
Yeah, I've shared that's a good point. I've shared a Google Drive with Jean and Debbie as we've been doing this survey. And I've put other things into it, like templates for the newsletters, and also like the template for when we go to the council, because we'll probably be doing that again. So if you guys are comfortable with Google Drive, I can just add everyone to it so that then you can pull down any documents that you want.
do we have edit? We have edit capability, correct? So that I can actually drop in like the logo. I want to put it somewhere else besides myself.
Yeah, but I think what you're going to want to do is take that as a side discussion, because the way Google Drive works, if we were on the city's document share, then the city would own all the documents, but we're on personal document shares. So like, I'm the owner of all those documents. If
Okay.
I go away or I, delete them, they're gone. So you guys are going to want to download that stuff, so you've got a copy of it rather than just leaving it there and adding to it, because that's like my shared drive.
Gotcha.
And then when you add stuff, it would be your stuff. But then if you leave the commission, it would be gone. You know what I mean? So really the commission has to talk about, does it want to have shared documents? And if so, how does it go about that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But in the short term, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, if it disappears, we know where you are.
Right. Okay. So that was the newsletter. Does anyone else have anything there before we move on? Partner network, again, nothing for this time, although Kim mentioned it, I mentioned it last time. I think this is an area that's ripe for us to do a better job, and my name's on it, so I can't point any fingers other than in the mirror, but there's a lot out there that, in hindsight, I would have done a little differently, but
I don't look at it that way, Kevin.
Your name's on a lot of stuff. on
Yeah,
this
your
list.
name's there, but you're not in charge of it. You're not doing it. You're kind of leading the discussion on it. But we're all a part of that. So, yeah, I know our names are on here, but that's just, okay, you're the lead. So don't look at it like you fell down on the partner networks because you didn't do any work on it. Well, neither did we. So that's the way I look at it. We can have, somebody, one or two people that can lead the discussion. And maybe be the committee chair, for instance, but it's on all of us to do it. It's not just one or two.
yeah, fair point. Okay, I do have an update for Purple Heart City. If we go, could you guys go to page 27, the last page in the docket? So this is where we are today. We've got the 7 signs that we initially had hoped to get up are up. The 8th sign, which is on westbound on 92, there's no city sign there yet. That was a future. And to be honest, I didn't follow up with Jill. I believe this transition from parks to public works is driving it now, but I don't know whether there's a plan for that for 92. But we have a sign that can go up there if the city puts a sign up there. I guess that's marked as future. And I think this map is a little not accurate in terms of there are no city signs on North Machias heading southbound or on Grade Road. It's got the yellow existing welcome sign there, but there really isn't anything coming down from 92 like that. So that's the one part of the city that doesn't have designation at a city level. And our strategy on the Purple Heart City signs is we put Purple Heart City sign everywhere there's a welcome to Lake Stevens sign. So I think, in my opinion, we're done. And we could mark this complete and present it when we go to the council the next time, let them know it's complete.
Is the final sign with Public Works?
Yes, they have 4 spare signs right now. And if that sign number 8 goes in, they should have it. My discussions with them is they know that's, if they ever put a city sign there, they'd be a Purple Heart City sign to go along with it.
Yeah, if we can make sure that that's in the minutes, just
Mhm.
so when, 3 years down the road, we're trying to
Where-
figure out where they are.
Yeah.
We can actually figure it out.
Yeah, and in fairness, the issue with that area way back when Parks Department was driving this is it's a state highway, so there's a whole different permitting process to try to do anything there.
So the moment that the city is able to get a sign out there, then we can just tag along.
Yeah,
Their sign.
yeah, that's the plan. And I don't know, again, this is just me, like, it's a little bit awkward in that we're not on both sides of the road, right? The city's only on one side of the road. So I don't know if that has any bearing on whether or not they could put a sign there or what, but that's the only place that there's not a sign right now.
So do we have to motion to do anything more with that, or we just kind of just keep it off of the schedule?
Just take it off of the agenda. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I think we'd probably want to agree, though, that it's complete, right? And we'd consider it complete.
Yeah. So in our next meeting with the council, we can say that that's done.
Yeah.
Good job, Kevin. Thank you.
Mhm.
You'll give that update, council business.
Well, I can say it on the
that
next
what you-
council
yeah.
business, but when the commission meets with the
Oh, right,
council
yeah.
with our report, I can do that also.
Yeah.
It's one of those items we completed. Hopefully, we'll be able to say we have a so and we have this and we have
Yeah.
that. So
Right, so we could mark this complete and stop tracking it as a project because it's essentially done.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, is there anything that anyone wants to bring up for the items on hold?
I'd like to propose that we bring the VSO off of the activities on hold and put it in active.
Is that proposed or motion or
I move.
you move, I so second.
Okay, we have a motion that's been seconded. Any discussion before we vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. Okay. Moving on to new business. Is there anything else that anyone wants to bring up?
Do you have something you were going to tell us about?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. So
We're gonna try to go without it.
I'm sorry.
So,
Before we go there, can I ask a question, please? I'm sorry.
Sure.
I don't want to ruin your flourishes. I do have a question. There was discussion last meeting about engaging with our media person for the city to push
Yeah.
out news flashes or announcements regarding certain things we complete, such as the Purple Heart City. I was wondering if there has been any move on that. Do we need to engage with the city to have somebody formally announce the completion of the Purple Heart City project?
So, go ahead, Kevin. Did you want to
I
say-
would, okay, I'll say the quick answer is, I don't think we need to announce it as complete, but Kelly has been working on, a press release for it. So Kelly, I'll hand it back to you because you've really been
Yeah,
driving it, I think.
You're really close. We had our public relations person draft something up, and I know Kevin had a couple comments. And I need to just go back through and make sure we incorporate, Kevin, all of your comments. And then I think should I send it out to the group or should he just copy you guys on it? Do you want to look at it? Do you need to look at it?
I
No?
don't think I need.
Okay, I'll make sure you guys get copies, but I think we're really close, Kevin. I think I just need to go make sure that your questions or changes are incorporated.
Right. And just to share, it was the capitalization of veterans is like the last, and Debbie, I can't see you guys, you're too far away but I hope you're smiling because, that's one that you've drummed into me now. I got it.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. It's close.
So once they fix that, I think it's good to go. And the only other thing was they were looking for a quote from somebody. And I think I don't know, Kelly, if we've decided on who the person that would be quoted or whether that's still a to be determined kind of thing.
It's certainly up to the commission. Kevin, you did a lot of work on this. I think it could come from you, even as outgoing chair.
Okay, so I'll give my 2 cents. My thought is it should be someone that's going to have more name recognition, especially going forward. So I was going to suggest it should be one of our elected officials. And Kim, I was thinking one of you guys on the board that are on the council as well, that, maybe people are going to recognize your name. And so that would be my thought. If no one else wants to do it, I don't have a problem with you putting my name, but I think there's better mileage we could get with a different name.
Well, everyone does know Kim.
Yeah, I could put together something. I'll do that. You're off the hook, Kevin.
Great. And they've actually got the words. You just have to agree to them putting your name to it. So you just speak back what they tell you. Well, we are recording this, aren't we? Okay, so my rotation was up last year. I was planning to step down at that time. But I made the mistake of agreeing to be chair. So my plan is that I will step down from the board now. And I'm certainly want to be available for events or things if you guys need help. But I think it's good to have rotation and I apologize because I know that John did the same thing and he had a better reason for it. But I think getting new blood is a good thing and so that's kind of that.
Well, Kevin, we appreciate everything you did, especially in the last year. You stood up and did some really good stuff. I certainly appreciate that. I'm sure I can speak for most of the board on that. You've done some wonderful things with us. You've kept us on pretty even keel, even though we've kind of, with the COVID especially, I mean, that's hard for every commission was having problems. Most of the other commissions, this is a harder commission to be on than the other commissions because they're generally staff run. So they have direction. They have their own work plan that's set by the council. And we don't have that. And we're basically our own autonomous commission that is actually still accountable to the council. And I think that you did as good as anybody could do and did probably better than we have in the past. So I appreciate everything you did as president.
Well, thank you. And unlike Sean, I am still going to be here, so you guys can tap me to help going forward. So.
Also going in the minutes.
Yeah, but see, I know where Sean lives, so I'm going to tap him anyway.
Okay, so I guess we're at the point where it's time for everyone's favorite motion. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, have a great night, everyone.
You too, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin and all.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye.